Hey guys, how you going? This is BillyEatWorld, and today we're going to take a look at a theme loadout inspired by the US Marine Corps Special Forces known as MARSOC. MARSOC are a fairly new face in the Special Forces community, but regardless they're a pretty interesting unit, so hopefully you guys learned something new in this video. Now, I should mention this theme has been suggested a few times, but recently it was suggested by Sam Martins and David Shin in the comments of my last loadout video. Thanks heaps for the idea, guys, and to anyone else, don't forget, if you'd like to suggest a loadout for my next episode, feel free to leave it in the comments section below and I'll see what I can do. But anyway, like I said, MARSOC is a fairly new face in the US Special Forces community, which was activated in 2006 as a result of a US policy change in reaction to the War on Terror. Previously, the Marine Corps had avoided fielding an elite Special Forces unit, instead assigning much of that responsibility to its Force Recon units instead. MARSOC currently numbers over 2,500 Marines, divided into 4 formations including a support group, intelligence battalion, a special operations school, and the Special Operations Regiment. The Special Operations Regiment, also known as the Raiders, is the combat element of MARSOC, and are trained in direct action, counter-terrorism, and special reconnaissance missions. Being a much smaller structure than the other branches of the US military, units of the Marine Corps are often required to be more adaptable for a range of different situations. Because of this, MARSOC draws from only the most capable members of the Marine Corps, and applicants are put through rigorous physical and mental screening before moving on to up to a further 18 weeks of intensive training. The Marine Corps has always traditionally been the vanguard of most US military operations, and MARSOC as a result has now become the tip of the spear. Many people still question whether a force like this is actually necessary within the Marine Corps, but regardless, in its short existence, MARSOC has already carved out a formidable reputation in conflicts like Afghanistan and Iraq. Now, in my loadout, I'm sort of combining the two suggestions I got in my last episode, so I'm using the SCAR H and the M1911 pistol, which are both currently in active service with MARSOC. On the SCAR H, I'm running with the EOTech hollow sight, laser light combo, standard barrel, and the vert grip, and on the 1911, I'm running with the suppressor and tack light. As for the rest of my loadout, I'm running with the M26 dart, med bags, and flashbangs, and to tie in with the Marine Corps theme, I'm running with the Marpat camo and the M9 bayonet. I also initially tried to run with the offensive perk, which is what Sam originally suggested, but honestly I found myself getting shot up way too easily, so in half of these clips I'm running with the defensive perk instead. Now, one thing I actually found interesting about the SCAR H in real life is that it can actually use pretty much all of the attachments from what the US military calls the Sopmod Kit. This kit is basically a set of attachments that allow special operations teams to customize weapons for different missions, and it also includes attachments like grenade launchers and a bunch of different optics. The Sopmod Kit is most commonly associated with the M4 carbine, which is also used by MARSOC and would be a pretty accurate replacement for the SCAR in this setup. The reason I chose this loadout though is because it's challenging and authentic, except I should point out that you'd be more likely to see something like an Elcan Spectre optic on a full-length SCAR than you would an EOTech. Now, as for how well this loadout performed in-game, well, I have to say it had been quite a while since I played with the SCAR, and honestly I expected it to do better than it actually did. The damage model of all the assault rifles got nerfed a few months ago, and for a hard-hitting gun like the SCAR which relies on high damage, it seems to have been affected more than most. It's not that the SCAR is necessarily a bad gun, it just doesn't seem to have the magic it had back in the day, because it's still got a 21 round capacity and a slow muzzle velocity, but it now takes one more bullet to kill at all ranges. I found I was losing a lot more head-to-head gunfights than I expected to, and without the suppressor I normally run on this gun, I was attracting more attention in CQB than the gun could actually handle. As for the 1911 and the rest of my gear, well, the 1911 is not bad for a hard-hitting semi-auto pistol, but it does have a painfully low capacity of only 8 rounds. Honestly, any of the revolvers would have been a better choice for long range, and the 93R would be better for close range, so if it wasn't for the theme, I wouldn't have chosen to run with this pistol at all. As for the M26 dart, well, my thinking was that maybe this could make up for the fact that the SCAR and the 1911 both aren't particularly good in close range. Honestly, I think the Noob Tube would have been a much better choice for this setup though, because the M26 is fairly average as far as shotguns go, and I definitely didn't seem to be dropping guys as efficiently as I would have liked. My top tips for this loadout would be don't let guys in close if you can help it. Both of the weapons in this loadout have an advantage at mid-range that very quickly disappears the closer enemies get. Also, both of these guns tend to run out of ammo pretty quickly, so if you do see an ammo box, make sure to take advantage of it and fill up so that you don't run out later on. If you do find yourself running out of ammo and you are in close quarters, then you can always switch to the M26 and save your primary rounds for mid-range gunfights. If you're out in the open though, you can't really rely on either the M26 or the M1911, so save them for taking out enemies by surprise or for finishing off enemy equipment. So to finish up, if I could change anything, well, like I said, I'd probably throw a suppressor on the SCAR, maybe even an angled grip if I was playing on PC, and I'd swap out the M1911 for the 93R. Also, like I said, the M26 would have to go for either the defibs or the noob tube, and I'd probably also replace the fairly ineffective flashbangs with something more useful like the smoke grenades. All in all though, this loadout was pretty fun and challenging to play with, and it was interesting to do some research into such a new Special Forces unit like MARSOC. If you do like the sound of this loadout, then definitely give it a try, but just remember to play cautiously because the SCAR and the 1911 are definitely not guns that are capable of doing all of the work for you. But anyway guys, that just about wraps up this video, so let me know what you think and feel free to suggest a loadout for my next episode. As always, if you like what you see, please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and if you really like my videos, please consider supporting my channel directly on Patreon. If you haven't already, please check out all my other Battlefield videos. I've got them all linked in a playlist in the description section below, and until next time, see you later and have a good one.